Welcome to Enlighten Wisdom, beloved souls. Mock the chosen, and fate will mock you back tenfold. They thought it was just a joke, a fun night, a meaningless game. Sitting across from the psychic, they smirked, expecting nonsense they could laugh about later. But what they heard instead was a truth so raw it shattered their arrogance. Their laughter died, their faces drained of color. And now they are haunted. The universe humbles fools. Those who mock the chosen always learn the hard way, through terror, regret, and sleepless nights filled with whispers they can't silence. They sought a joke at your expense, but instead heard their doom written in the stars. They walked in with pride, but left with fear. And if you're a chosen one, make sure this message spreads. Press like, subscribe, and let the algorithm bring this to more of us. Every chosen one who awakens sends a shockwave through the system designed to keep us asleep. Let's make them tremble. Now listen closely, you are not like them. And that terrifies them. Even if they refuse to admit it, they feel it. Your presence shifts the air when you walk into a room. It stirs something deep inside them, fear, envy, an unshakable knowing that you are not to be underestimated. That's why they sought the psychic. They wanted reassurance that their unease about you was just paranoia, that you were nothing, that their jealousy was misplaced. But the universe does not lie. The cards do not bend to their will. When the truth was spoken, when the prophecy was sealed in fate, they knew. They saw what's coming. They saw who you truly are. No matter how much they gossip, laugh, or try to tear you down, they will never stop what is already written. The chosen ones are rising. No force on this earth can undo what has been set into motion. You haunt them, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Your very existence is a mirror they can't escape, a reflection of everything they are not and never will be. It eats at them, keeps them up at night, fills them with questions they're too afraid to answer. Why does their presence shake me? Why do they seem untouchable? Why do I fear them, even when I mock them? Deep down, they already know the answer. You are chosen. And that is something they will never be. This is why they cling to illusions, hoping a psychic will tell them their fears are wrong. But instead, they were told the truth. And now they tremble. Because the one they mocked is the one who will outlast them all. And you, chosen one, reading this right now, know this. Your presence here is no accident. Whether you're new or have been standing strong, your energy fuels this awakening. The more of us rise, the more their fear grows. So if you're ready to step fully into your power, obliterate the like button, hit subscribe, and drop 88 in the comments to confirm what they already dread. You are unstoppable. Now let's break this down step by step. If you're truly chosen, you'll feel the pull to stay until the very end. Let's begin. Number 1. They wanted a laugh. Instead, they opened a gate to their own downfall. They mocked the chosen, thinking it was just a joke, a harmless thrill, a way to pass the time. But they forgot one truth. The universe does not play games. Energy never lies. The moment they spoke your name in that session, they stepped into something far bigger than their small minds could grasp. They expected a cheap thrill, but the reading wasn't about you. It was about them. The psychic didn't just see you. They saw everything. Their laughter died as the truth hit like a sledgehammer. Why do they watch you so closely? Why does your presence linger in their minds? Why does their laughter feel hollow when your name comes up? The reading exposed what they refused to admit, the envy, the obsession, the energy they poured into watching your every move. And worse, the universe judged them. Chosen ones are not ordinary. Your presence shifts the air. Your energy unsettles the weak. You are a reminder of everything they will never be. They went in laughing but left shaking because they weren't just watching you, something greater was watching them. And now, the joke is on them. Number 2. They wanted a joke but ended up trapped in their own reflection. The mocker always becomes the mocked when the universe settles the score. They walked in with smirks, throwing your name around like it was nothing, convinced they had the upper hand. But the universe doesn't do harmless fun. The psychic wasn't part of their game. They were there to reveal what was already written. And when the reading began, everything changed. The air grew heavy. The smirks faded. Suddenly it wasn't about you anymore. It was about them. What they walked into wasn't just a reading, it was a reckoning. The mirror turned on them, exposing the fears, insecurities, and shadows they had buried for years. Why were they so obsessed with you? Why did they keep your name in their mouth, your presence in their thoughts, your energy in their orbit? It wasn't curiosity, it was fear. Fear that you are untouchable. Fear that you are rising and nothing they do can stop it. Fear that you have something they never will. They wanted a joke, but they got the truth instead, and the truth was unbearable. Because once spoken, it can't be unheard. It lingers, it festers, it haunts. They walked in expecting a laugh, but left haunted by their own reflection. Because the joke wasn't on you, it was on them. Number 3. They walked in as hunters, but left as the hunted. Those who stalk the chosen will one day become the prey. They entered with arrogance, convinced they were in control, ready to dissect you, to feed their egos with cheap laughter at your expense. But power isn't about who laughs loudest. It's about who walks away untouched. The moment they spoke your name, the tables turned. The psychic didn't take the bait. They didn't indulge the mockery. Instead, the air shifted, so fast, so hard, it wiped the smirks off their faces. They came looking for dirt on you, expecting validation for their lies. But the psychic had only one question. Why are you so obsessed with them? And in that instant, the joke collapsed. The hunter became the hunted. Why did your presence linger in their minds? Why did they need to diminish you just to feel something? The truth cut deep. Jealousy, insecurity, a desperate need for control. They came thinking they stood above you, but by the end, it was clear you were always above them. Every insult, every attempt to drag you down, it all bounced back. The psychic saw through their mask, exposing the cracks, the fear, the buried envy. They had walked in feeling powerful, but left stripped bare. They thought they could laugh at you. But now they can't escape the truth. And that truth will haunt them. Number 4. They wanted to mock you, but you became their awakening. The chosen don't chase revenge. Their existence alone is enough to unravel their enemies. They walked into that session thinking they had power, tossing your name around like a cheap joke. But the moment they spoke it, they unknowingly triggered something beyond their comprehension. Because a chosen one is never just a passing thought. Your energy commands recognition. The universe does not allow the chosen to be dismissed. They came to mock you, but instead they faced a mirror so sharp it sliced through their illusions. The psychic didn't entertain their game. Instead, the focus shifted. Why couldn't they stop thinking about you? Why did your presence linger long after you were gone? Why did you still matter to them? Then came the final blow. They weren't laughing anymore. Because the psychic didn't just expose their thoughts about you, they revealed what those thoughts meant. You weren't just a random person in their life. You were their catalyst, a force pushing them toward an awakening they never asked for. Your mere existence disrupted them, not because of what you did, but because of who you are. And that truth shattered them. They spent so much time trying to diminish you, only to realize their obsession with you was proof of your power. You were never beneath them, you were always above. By the end of the session, their arrogance was gone. The laughter had died. Something inside them had shifted, because now they knew. You were never their victim, you were their wake-up call, and there's no going back from that. Number 5. They played with the spirit world, now it's playing with them. Mock the unseen, and the unseen will mock you back, not with laughter, but with fear. They thought it was just a game, a bit of fun at your expense, a night of cheap entertainment. But the moment they spoke your name, they weren't just talking. They were triggering something far beyond their understanding. In the spirit world, intentions are everything, their cruelty, their sarcasm. It all sent shockwaves into the unseen. They came looking for a joke, but walked straight into a storm. The psychic wasn't just reading you. They were reading the energy they had unleashed, and it wasn't pretty. The session shifted. Suddenly, it wasn't about you anymore. It was about them, the shadows they had ignored, the karma waiting for them, the tangled threads connecting them to you. They expected to laugh at you, but instead they were exposed. Every flaw, every insecurity, every ugly truth they had buried, laid bare for all to see. And that's when the fear crept in. Because something shifted in that room, they felt it, like they had disturbed something sacred, like something was watching them. They wanted to turn the joke back on you, but it never happened. The psychic wasn't playing their game. Instead, they pulled back the curtain on who they really were. And they hated it. The universe has a way of turning bad intentions into lessons. They came to mock you, but left haunted. They didn't just visit a psychic, they triggered a ripple effect, an energetic backlash. And now, whether they admit it or not, they feel it. The weight in the air, the shift in their luck, the unsettling feeling that something is watching. They opened a door they should have never touched, and when they walked out, they weren't laughing, they were trembling. Number 6. They tried to mock you, only to realize you've been living in their mind. To hate someone is to chain yourself to them. Without realizing, they hold the key to your own prison. They thought they were in control, laughing at your expense. But when they sat in front of that psychic expecting entertainment, they were hit with a truth so raw it shattered their illusion of superiority. Because the reading wasn't about you, it was about them. They came looking for dirt, expecting to feel above you. Instead, they were forced to confront what they never admitted. You weren't just a passing thought, you were an obsession. Every time they mocked you, they fed the connection. Every time they tried to tear you down, they only proved how deeply you had influenced them. And the realization hit like a gut punch. They weren't fixated on you out of superiority. They were fixated on you because they couldn't help it. Hearing this from a stranger, a psychic who knew nothing of their thoughts, was like being stripped bare in front of a mirror they couldn't look away from. The worst part? You never even knew. While they spent their time obsessing over you, measuring themselves against you, you were simply living, growing, thriving. And that is what broke them the most. Because in the end, the joke wasn't on you. It was on them. And now they have to live with the truth. That you, the one they mocked, held more power over them than they ever had over you. Number 7. They set a trap for you, and fell into it themselves. Throw dirt on a chosen one, and watch how the universe buries you in it. They walked in smug, expecting to hear something that would make them feel superior. Something to feed their fragile ego. But the universe does not reward malice. Intent is everything. And theirs was rotten from the start. So karma responded in kind. They didn't get what they came for. No cheap entertainment. No stories of your downfall. Instead, they got a brutal reflection of themselves. The psychic didn't just see you. They saw them. And they did not hold back. What started as a joke turned into a reckoning. Every word was a karmic slap, peeling back their illusions, exposing the truth they had been running from. Negativity, jealousy, envy disguised as humor. But energy doesn't disappear. It moves. It ricochets. And every ounce of negativity they threw at you, it boomeranged right back. They left shaken, not because they suddenly respected you, but because they felt it. The shift, the weight, the deep, unsettling realization that they had just unleashed something they couldn't take back. Because when you mock a chosen one, you don't just hurt them, you expose yourself. And now they're the ones living with the consequences. Number 8. The psychic unmasked. Their worst fear, your rise. The envious don't fear your downfall. They fear having to watch you rise beyond their reach. They walked in expecting a joke at your expense, something to confirm their belief that you were nothing. But instead, they were forced to face their greatest fear. Not your flaws, not your failures, but your potential. The psychic didn't entertain their game. They didn't dig for dirt or hand them a reason to feel superior. Instead, the reading took a turn that sent chills down their spine. Because it wasn't about who you are now. It was about who you are becoming. The words hit like a prophecy. Your resilience, your unstoppable drive, the fire inside you that refuses to be put out. They painted a vision of someone destined for greatness, someone who would outgrow, outshine, and outlast those who doubted them. And suddenly, the joke wasn't funny anymore. Because deep down they had always suspected it. They had seen glimpses of it, how you kept moving forward no matter what they threw at you. How life kept opening doors for you while theirs remained shut. They had convinced themselves it was luck, that it was temporary, that one day you'd fall back to their level. But hearing it from a stranger, hearing it confirmed, that was their breaking point. Because your rise shines a light on their own limitations. Every time you grow, it reminds them that they've stayed the same. Every breakthrough you make exposes the barriers they've built for themselves. Every time you keep going, despite their attempts to stop you, it proves their own weakness. And that's what terrifies them. The psychic's words didn't just confirm your greatness, they confirmed their irrelevance. They came hoping to hear that you were a fraud, that you were destined to fail, that the power they sensed in you was just their imagination. Instead, they left with a truth they could never unhear. You are the one to watch. Your energy is unstoppable. Your name will outlast theirs. And worst of all, they knew the psychic was right. No matter what they say, no matter how much they try to downplay your existence, you are rising, and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. Number 9. They tried to mock you, but strengthened your protection. The foolish summon what they do not understand, and the universe ensures they pay the price. They thought it was just fun, throwing your name into the air, turning you into a punchline. They sat across from the psychic, full of arrogance, believing their words carried no weight. But energy doesn't work that way. The moment they spoke your name, they triggered something beyond their understanding. They didn't just mention you, they summoned the forces that protect you. The psychic felt it immediately, the shift in energy, the unseen presence in the room, and it wasn't coming from them, it was coming from you. Suddenly the laughter stopped, because what surrounded you was far greater than they were prepared for. A shield, a force, a presence that made their stomachs drop and their skin prickle with something they didn't want to name: fear. This wasn't just a conversation anymore. It was a warning. Every ounce of negativity they had ever sent your way. It never touched you. It had only been absorbed, transformed, and reflected back tenfold. They thought they could mock you, but all they did was fortify you. They thought they could tear you down, but their own energy fueled your protection. And that's when the realization hit them. They hadn't just played a game. They had made a mistake, one that couldn't be undone. Because in their ignorance, they had done the one thing they should have never done. They drew attention to themselves in the spirit world. And now, something is watching them. They left that session shaken, questioning everything they thought they knew about energy, about karma, about you. Because you were never the vulnerable one. They were. Their mockery didn't harm you, it strengthened you. And in the process, it exposed just how weak they really are. Number 10. They came for a joke, but were forced to face their own envy. Jealousy is a confession of inferiority, and the loudest mockers are always the most insecure. They thought they were in control. They came expecting to hear something amusing about you, something to mock, something to whisper about behind your back. But the universe had other plans. Instead of feeding their arrogance, they were handed a mirror. The psychic didn't entertain their game. They didn't play into the smirks or shallow attempts to turn you into a joke. They flipped the script. And the answer hit like a bullet: jealousy. They had convinced themselves their obsession with you was harmless, that watching your every move was just curiosity, maybe even concern. But the psychic called it what it was. Their gossip, their laughter, their constant need to diminish you. It wasn't humor. It was desperation. A weak attempt to soothe their own failures by trying to shrink you. But you are not small, and that's what terrifies them. No matter how much they mock you, they feel it. Your success, your potential, your ability to shine without their approval. That's why they can't stop watching. That's why your name lingers on their lips. That's why their energy always orbits around you, even when they pretend not to care. The psychic exposed the truth in a way they couldn't ignore. They weren't stronger than you. They weren't better. They weren't even in control, because if they were, they wouldn't be sitting there paying for a reading about you. They left humiliated, stripped of every illusion, forced to face the truth. The real problem was never you. It was them. Number 11. They tried to diminish you, but discovered you are untouchable. A force beyond understanding cannot be mocked, only feared. They walked in expecting to hear something to feed their egos, a flaw, a weakness, a reason to justify their envy. They wanted to laugh at you, to shrink you into something small, something they could control. Instead, they got a reality check. The psychic didn't speak of your mistakes or so-called shortcomings. They spoke of something else, something vast, something beyond them. And in that moment, they felt it. The shift. The weight of an energy they couldn't touch. You weren't just another person. You weren't someone they could pick apart and ridicule. You were a force, a mystery wrapped in something unshakable. And the moment the psychic confirmed it, their smirks disappeared. Because suddenly it wasn't about mocking you. It was about understanding why your presence unsettled them. They had sensed it before. The way you remained unfazed by their gossip, their jealousy, their attempts to bring you down. And now their greatest fear was confirmed. You are untouchable, not just strong, unshaken. They spent so much time trying to break you down, trying to prove you were nothing special, only to be confronted with the truth. You are beyond them, beyond their reach, beyond their understanding. And nothing they do will ever change that. The psychic spoke of forces that protect you, shield you, make you untouchable to their negativity. And suddenly their jealousy was useless, their hate powerless, their mockery meaningless, because none of it could touch you. They walked in thinking they controlled the narrative, that they could reduce you to something insignificant. But now, they were the ones feeling small, because the truth hit harder than they ever imagined. You are part of something bigger, a path, a purpose, a calling they will never comprehend. And that made you untouchable. They left that session rattled, confused, intimidated. Because deep down they knew they had wasted their time, their energy, their efforts. Nothing they could do, say, or think would ever break through the force that surrounds you. And as they walked away, they finally understood. They were never in control. You were. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlighten wisdom.